Chase Brown.
Chase Brown.
I think we have to start with Chase Brown because we are in lockstep. And again, I don't look at Matt's rankings. He doesn't really. They're there, but he's just putting like we don't really talk about our rankings. We just kind of show up and it's like, oh, you got this guy. Oh, okay, interesting. We both have Chase Brown at 10. I was completely dead wrong on Chase Brown. I thought Zach Moss, that backfield would be his. I've paid for it dearly in many ways, but I'm man enough to admit that I'm wrong and put him at 10, and that's where we have him consensus. And it scares me. It does scare me a little bit because, again, they're not committed to him, really, with money. And what is he, a fourth round pick or a third round pick?
I think he was fifth or undrafted.
Yeah, so
529. So end of the
so,
fifth round.
so fifth round pick. I mean, you talk about another place that'll go nuts for Ashton Genty if they draft. I mean, it would be so Bengals to do something like that with all the glaring needs that they have and all the shiny weapons that they have to just get another one. They probably won't do it, but again, if it happens, Chase Brown is sunk and dead. And I think there's a lot of scenarios where Chase Brown goes down with the ship, but I have a feeling the Bengals like him, and I don't know. Like if I were the Bengals, I would say, "Hey, Chase Brown's good. Let's just feature Chase Brown as our primary running back. Maybe Khalil Herbert's here. Another maybe sign. I don't know another running back, Donta Foreman, whoever we like as a third string running back, whatever. But Chase Brown's good. Let's just keep using Chase Brown, but you never know what these NFL teams are going to go. So my point is, long-winded way of saying, I'm a little bit nervous because he is a fifth-round pick. They aren't committed to him cash-wise. This is a really good running back draft, really good. So they could decide, maybe not Ashton Genty in the first round, but maybe Omarion Hampton in the second round, or maybe Travion Henderson in the third round. You see what I'm saying here. So this is probably my least confident, bold ranking is putting Chase Brown in the top 10. Let us know what you think in the comments. Any thoughts on that? I don't really have much else to say. Bucky Irving is the ultimate example of why you take running backs in the third and fourth round of your rookie drafts. So,
You know what that entire argument just reminded me a lot of?
huh?
A young bull named Isaiah Pacheco.
Yes,
Like
sir.
almost to
Yeah,
the letter. I was just like, man, I feel like we've said this exact argument about
it's a good
somebody
point.
before. And I was like, oh, wow, it's exactly what scared us off of Isaiah Pacheco going into year two.
Mm,
And it turns out sometimes these really good forward thinking teams will just say, hey, we struck gold. Like Chase Brown wasn't a fifth round pick. Like
are
he
the
shouldn't have been.
Bengals?
And then they will roll with that. I think they like Zach Moss too. Like I don't see why the Bengals don't just roll back this backfield again and give the keys to Chase Brown. I think it's very clear that I'm not going to call Chase Brown a benefit of the system necessarily, but we've seen two RBs now in Joe Mixon and Chase Brown get equivalent roles within this Joe Burrow offense, and both of them have succeeded. So maybe there's something to Joe Burrow being so damn incredible, and T. Higgins and Jamar Chase being such unique and terrifying threats that the run game is just going to be a little bit easier for the running back in
Mm-hmm.
that offense. And if you have a pass catching running back like Mixon and like Brown, all the better, because the more attention and the further back the defense is, Joe Burrow is a guy, he will take those checkdowns. He'll get his RB 5 yards with wide open space and let him run. So we've seen that exact usage get mapped over to Brown. I see no reason why they don't continue that going forward. And I will admit, I had Brown at 14, and I had Bucky Irving at 9, and then I obviously inserted Ashton Genty before the show. Looking at your rankings, I did decide to flip them. So you got me thinking, and I was like, yeah. I mean, Bucky Irving still is fighting off Rashad White, and I really, really got to respect not just the production, but the massive amount of bell cow opportunity that he's been given really since week 5 of this year.
Yeah, and that Buccaneers offense. I mean, two things. One, are the Brown or not the Browns? Oh my gosh, are the Bengals a good organization? And also, you got to throw in Zach Taylor we like for fantasy, especially with the running back position. We don't have much evidence. I mean, we do have actually a lot of evidence, but he's only really had a couple running backs, Joe Mixon and now Chase Brown, but he's featured whoever the running back has been, it seems like they get a pretty good workload. The primary running back.
I think they are a good organization.
Okay.
I think they are a good organization. Emphasis on the word good. They did
Yeah.
put together a Super Bowl roster with a lot of drafting and a lot of key kind of underdog free agent signings. And what's definitely shown this year is all of the guys from that group that ended up leaving that really were holding this team together. Like Jesse Bates was, I've known this, since the offseason. Like I knew Jesse Bates was going to be huge for this team, but they were just in a Super Bowl not too long ago.
Yeah.
And you can argue offensively they're playing better than they ever have been. So I do think they are a good organization. I think it's bad organizations that mess up things like this.
Okay. Fair enough. And it'll be interesting to see if Zach Taylor's retained or not, because
That's up
they're
to
having
Burrow,
a
I think.
okay.
I'm dead serious. I think it's up to Burrow.
I'm laughing because you're probably right.